people, it's Anna from Astralladytarot in Amsterdam. Today I have a bit of a surprise for you. As you may know, I have been reading with my Thoth Greenie for clients for a while now. This is an 80s version. Comes with this card plus 2 extra cards which I framed. The universal hexagram and then just a blank card with the beautiful rose cross backs. There's the booklet, and this one you can see it's the first print of the 1983 version. Booklet is printed in the USA, but the cards are printed in Belgium. I really love this deck, but today I'm going to compare it to another Thoth Greenie, and it's not just another deck with the exact same thing. So hear me out. The reason why I chose to buy another one is that this is my deck. I have fallen in love with it. I have fallen in love with the artwork, and I want to keep this one as my deck. And so in order to, let my clients touch the cards, I don't let my clients shuffle the cards. I fan them out and they pick out a few cards. But that does mean that they touch the cards, and sometimes they, put their hands on the cards, and all of that is fine. I just don't want to sit there cringe about that a little bit. It's just I keep thinking like, ooh, did you wash your hands? Or what type of energy are you bringing into this object? And I really want to go back to me being pretty much the only one who touches these cards. Now, this may sound a little bit silly or stupid even to some people, but I don't really care. I know that there are plenty of tarot readers out there who understand what I mean by that. This is a spiritual tool. I treat it with respect, and I really want this one to be mine. Now, I'm very picky when it comes to what version of a deck I use. For instance, I tried many different Rider-Waite-Smith versions before I finally found out that it's really the Centennial version that I love, that I truly, truly love. And so I decided to buy another version to use for clients. That way, I'm sure that that specific deck, that specific object has its own purpose, and it's made for others. It has its own purpose, as in it's not for me, it's not for my own personal use, but it's for others, to bring that message to other people. And do you like my little frog, by the way? It's so friendly, isn't it? But I must say that really did relax me in a way, of just that specific deck. The second Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial that I bought was for clients, and I never cringed if they picked up the cards like that, with the nails, or it's these little things that I'm just fully relaxed and I can do my thing. And I know that that specific spiritual tool, that specific deck, like the actual deck, is there for giving that message to other people. Yeah, long story, but this is my Thoth, and I recently was lucky enough to acquire another one, which came in a very similar box, although much older looking. Yeah. So let's analyze this one. These are the extra cards. Here's the booklet. And you will find that this is a third printing, but a 1978 version of the deck. So it is a greenie. Booklet is printed in the United States. Cards also printed in Belgium. But it's the 78 version. I'm really glad that I have that version. Now, obviously, at least in my mind, the 78 version, 1978, is more valuable than the Greenie of 1983, right? Because it's older, and therefore probably also rarer. So here it is. It's in beautiful, beautiful, almost new state, and you can immediately see, I think, that is what we're going to do in this video, compare the coloration. It's very different, actually. Yes, they're both greenies. Yes, they have the same borders, they have the same information on the card, but just look at the borders alone. How green my 83 version is, and a little bit grainy, which I love, and the border is often quite dark, which I love, so it's an extra green greenie. And it's also really sharp, by the way. I'm really lucky to have this specific one, because I've actually seen another greenie that has a lot of cards that look a little bit blurry, and mine doesn't have that problem. And look here, it's much paler, it's much... Actually, this one has a lot of blue, and this one has a lot of yellow. And look at the difference. I mean, it will change throughout the deck, because not every card is as green as the next one, you know, but I can see the printing difference. It's just... I think it's the same cardstock, but it's a very different greenie. I don't know, I've already bonded with this one, and I bought this one with that intention to read with for others, so I think I'm just gonna have to go ahead and do that and see how that goes. Before I do the full flip through to compare the colors, I want you to see look at the backs. Can you see that? I think my jaw dropped when I saw this one, because actually, it's not accurate still, because all of these squares are supposed to have a different color because of the suits, and these ones still look a little bit the same, but there's definitely more nuance in the 78 version. Do you see that? This one is quite pale. It's almost like a wash of yellow went over it, and this one is, yeah, I like that contrast. I was surprised to see that much of a difference. Now, to be honest, I will tell you right off the bat, I prefer this 83 version of the greenie, because, like I said, it's a little bit of a darker, it has a little bit of a darker border, therefore a little bit of a greener border. This one feels a little bit more yellowish green, and this one is a little bit more blue-green, which are definitely my colors. But this back on this deck would have been even more of a treat, if you know what I mean. So, tarot lovers, Thoth lovers, I hope you enjoy this video, because I never thought that I would ever own two greenies. In case you want to know which one you have and you don't have the booklet, but you do happen to have the box, or you are looking for a greenie, this is the ISBN for the 83 version. And I saw the ISBN for the 78 version. I thought I saw it somewhere. Oh, here we go. I hope you can see that. If you can't, then ask me in the comments and I will write it to you. Little frog here. Yeah, I hope you can tell. I hope you can tell the difference. This High Priestess is definitely more... It's throughout the deck, I've seen it. It's definitely paler and more yellow. And this one right here, when it goes into the deeper colors, it definitely goes a little bit deeper. So for the coloration, as I said, the 83 is... I do prefer 83. Even though, you know, it's still very, very green. They're both extremely green in comparison to the mass-produced Thoth that's readily available in the stores, which I also have a version of, but to be honest, you know, I tried to like it. It's the one that I trimmed, but yeah, I really connect with with these cards. They are more magical to me, and I really need that feeling when I read for myself and for clients. I really need to look at some really beautiful cards that I actually truly find beautiful to look at. Look at the gargoyles. In this one, they are very, very green, and here much less green. And you can also tell the blues are more blue. Yeah, that's a difference. I really, really didn't expect to see such a big difference in two greenies. I mean, I must say they are quite a few years apart. But I thought a greenie's a greenie, but apparently when you get a 78 version, the borders are just printed differently, you can tell. And the 83 is much more contrasted, much darker. I mean, mine is at least, and also a little bit grainy, whereas here it's just super smooth lines. I'm so lucky to have found both of these, because my 83 version I actually got with the cellophane still wrapped around it, and my 78 version, I mean, look at them, they are just pristine condition. Who would have thought I would become a Thoth nerd as well? Apparently you're supposed to say Thoth, but this one's more purple in the light. This one's definitely more blue. I love this card. Okay, so I noticed some things beforehand. Here, the whole card looks really good, no flaws. And here, in the 83 version, hope my camera, I don't have a focus on this camera, but I hope you can tell. If you have a greenie yourself, you can check it out. Right here, there's a little, very thin black line right there in the middle of the top second yod. And here, there's none of that. So I think that when they reprinted these cards in the beginning of the 80s, it was a little hair or something, you know, something. There are these little flaws that we just see because we, of course, analyze the cards constantly. Both really sharp, really happy. I don't know if you can tell, but at least through the majors, there's more space here. So everything is printed a little bit more on top of the card. And here, everything is a little bit more down on the card. So a little bit more centered even, I believe. Yeah, they're really close. But, I mean, I do notice these things, you know. Just how sharp the line work is, how bright the colors are, what tone of color it is. There's a little black spot here, which I don't have here. Because this deck, 83, has more blue, and this one has more yellow, the reds also become a little bit more true red. Because blend with yellow, they become a little bit less red and more orange. These are very, very similar. You know, some people may find it silly that I bought a second Greenie. After all, expensive, rare. But as I said, this is really what I like to look at, what I like to work with. These large cards. Because I don't know if you've noticed, if you own a Greenie or a vintage deck, vintage Thoth, the mass-produced large one by US Games or A.G. Mueller are the same size cards, but first of all, they have a white border in the back. This cross is stretched out, so the circle, the rose in the middle, isn't a circle, it's an oval. And the artwork is also less elongated. It's just a little bit more like that, which makes the dimensions of every card, they're off. The dimensions are off. I don't have that deck here with me because I lent it out, but you see here, you do this, and it's a perfect circle. It's a wheel, right? Well, you do the same thing with your US Games ones that you can buy in the store today, and you will see that this wheel is actually like that. It's an oval. It's not round anymore. And it's just stuff like that that makes me go a little bit like, come on, you couldn't have made a deck that has round circles? And these cards, this size, the fact that they're just perfectly proportioned makes it extremely appealing, extremely beautiful, extremely high quality, even though, you know, the colors aren't what they're supposed to be. But honestly, the US Games that you can buy these days in the store also don't seem like it's the colors that the deck should be, and because I think they cranked up the colors way too much. And here, yes, it's probably too pale, it's probably too green to have, you know, accurate true colors, but at least it's a quality deck. And for me personally, I really love the green. So that was a little bit of a rant. So I do see this one is definitely very sharp, but then this one, this is one of those cards that was printed a little bit wonky, and so the wands look blurry. So I didn't have that in the majors of my 1978 Thoth, but I did have it in the minors. There are a little bit of these black spots. Definitely more orange. Don't know if you can see that, but it's definitely more red here. Even though, you know, it's not true red at all, it still looks very orange in comparison to readily available deck. But, I don't know, for my taste, those decks, they have these flaws that I feel could be easily corrected, and I mean, like, for instance, the circles, the cardstock, the border in the back, what else? The fact that the colors are so extremely vibrant, too much. It's a very screamy deck, whereas the Greenie is so soft and warm and deep. Look at this color difference, though. So I definitely do prefer the 83 version colors. Look at that. Another card that's a little bit blurry. Oh wow, okay, so the sky in the back of her looks orange in this card, whereas here it's pretty much white. That's interesting. How that happened, I don't know. Different colorations for sure. I feel that my 78 deck is also lighter, not only more on the yellow side. This was my card for today. Ah, they look so good. They really look good. I'm really happy with this. I was really expecting the exact same thing, to be honest. Look at the border. How different it is. Really dark green. Definitely green, but just printed so differently. They have the same little black dot next to the border. See that? Right here. You know, actually I'm glad that they look nothing alike. I mean, they are very close in coloration, but you can tell by the border and by the backs. I won't get these cards mixed up, you know? If I ever do, then it will be really easy for me to see which deck is which. Now this card's more blue. I like that. I prefer this one. God, this queen is so gorgeous. I also really like this card. And the Princess of Discs. I just posted a video pathworking with this card, so if you're interested, I'll link it below. I really only took a look at these cards. This is my 1978 Greenie. The cards feel really new, therefore a little bit sharp. I really only took a look at these cards, and so, you know, for the comparison, and didn't work with it at all yet. I must say my other Greenie has been used quite a lot by me, so the cards feel, you know, a little softer, a little buttery, a little loved. These cards are still bowed all over the place. One card for it to tell me its energy, and I will take it as a positive card. Okay, you. Okay. The Prince of Swords. That is very outwards, very analytical, actually trying to find a certain freedom in, actually decisive freedom, decisiveness. That's how I see this card. Lots of energy, lots of light, and I have a feeling that with this card, this deck is eager to be used again. I don't know if I actually believe that, but yeah, I like that idea. So there you go, that's my comparison. What do you think? What would you do in my place now that you've seen the coloration of the deck that I already had and the coloration of this newer, older deck, if you know what I mean. Which one would you use for clients? Would you use any of these for clients? I bought this one for that exact purpose. And yeah, I'm going to have to shuffle it a little bit, give it a little bit of love so that the cards aren't that stiff and sharp any longer. So I'm going to get to know this deck a little better. Have these cards be familiar in my hands. So I'm going to do that now, and I hope this video was interesting. Please let me know what you think. As I said, which one would you choose for clients if you would choose one of these at all? For me, this is definitely the way to go. I really do prefer this one over just a readily available one, even if it's just for the cardstock, just for the backs, just for the green tint that I do still find quite charming. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you very much.